We like to think our choices are entirely our own, that our personality is something we build from scratch. But what if I told you that long before you were born, an invisible blueprint was already shaping your life? This isn't about genetics or simple upbringing. It's about something deeper, the family egregore. Every family, over generations, creates a collective field of consciousness. Think of it as a psychic atmosphere woven from the beliefs, emotions, secrets, traumas, and triumphs of your ancestors. This field is the family egregore, and it's the matrix you were born into. It subtly dictates your values, your fears, your loyalties, and even the invisible lines you feel you can't cross. Today, we're going to explore what this family field is, how it creates invisible loyalties and repeating patterns in your life, and most importantly, how you can free yourself from its limitations without cutting ties with your roots. So, what exactly is a family egregore? It's a shared field of memory and emotion, fed by everything your lineage has experienced. The great joys, the hidden dramas, family secrets, successes, failures, and especially the heavy silences. This isn't just about what your parents taught you. The egregore operates on a much deeper, unconscious level. It structures the family's shared unconscious mind, creates unspoken expectations, and can even shape life paths into strangely repetitive cycles. What keeps this field alive? It's powered by a few key things. First, there are the foundational narratives, those phrases you've heard 1,000 times like, in our family, we're fighters, or we've never been good with money. Then come the inherited emotions of free-floating anxiety, a deep-seated shame, or a fierce pride that doesn't feel entirely your own. There are also implicit rules, the things you just know you shouldn't say or do, even if no one ever told you why. And finally, there are the unintegrated events, a sudden death, a bankruptcy, an exile, or an act of violence that was never fully processed and healed. As a child, you're born and immediately plugged into this field, long before you have the ability to question any of it. One of the most powerful forces within this family field is something called invisible loyalty. This is a deep, unconscious drive to stay connected to your family, born out of love and the fundamental need to belong. Out of this loyalty, you might find yourself unconsciously repeating a family destiny. For example, you might limit your own success to avoid outshining a parent who struggled. You might carry a sadness or an anger that isn't actually yours, acting as a container for an ancestor's unresolved pain. You might stay loyal to a family trauma by sabotaging your own happiness. These loyalties are almost never conscious. Instead, they manifest as powerful inner beliefs. You might feel, if I become too successful, I'm betraying where I come from, or being truly happy would be a slap in the face to all the ancestors who suffered, or even, I can't trust people because my grandmother was betrayed. In this way, the egregore isn't maintained by some external force, but by our own unconscious love and our deep-seated need to belong to our tribe. How do you know if an egregore is active in your life? Look for the patterns. Family egregores love to reveal themselves through repetition. Do you find yourself in the same type of romantic relationships over and over? Do you have recurring conflicts with authority figures, just like your father did? Do you experience repeated professional failures despite your best efforts? Or maybe there are specific psychosomatic illnesses that seem to run in the family, or cycles of dramatic fallouts and exclusion. These repetitions aren't just bad luck. They are signals. They point to an unintegrated memory, a piece of family history that is crying out for resolution. It's trying to heal itself through you, through the current generation. Fields like transgenerational psychology and even epigenetics are now confirming what mystics have known for centuries. Trauma can be transmitted, not just emotionally or symbolically, but even on a biological level. The family egregore acts like an unconscious software program, pushing you to reenact an old story in the subconscious hope that this time You'll be the one to finally fix it, to give it a different ending. And this is where the trap lies. We start to confuse our identity with our sense of belonging. The danger of the family egregore is when we believe that being loyal means being the same. We start to fully identify with our family inheritance, and that's when things get distorted. Love turns into self-sacrifice. Loyalty becomes self-erasure, and respect for our elders turns into a blind repetition of their mistakes. This confusion can lead to a life filled with chronic guilt for wanting something different. It creates a deep fear of psychological separation, making it incredibly difficult to set healthy boundaries with family members. You might even feel a constant sense of existential debt, as if you owe your family your life and therefore have no right to live it for yourself. At this point, the egregore is no longer a source of support. It becomes a cage, restricting your life force and your potential. So how do we break free? The good news is that true liberation isn't about rejecting your family, staging a dramatic walkout, or cutting off all emotional ties. That often just creates a new trauma. Instead, freedom comes from a process of conscious disidentification. Freeing yourself from a family egregore means learning to recognize what belongs to you and what doesn't. It means honoring the past without being condemned to repeat it. It's about transforming that unconscious loyalty into a conscious, loving choice. This process has a few key stages. First, you have to learn to see the field. This means becoming an observer of your own life and your family's history. Identify the recurring patterns, the key phrases that get repeated, and the dominant emotional tones you grew up with. Is there a pervasive feeling of scarcity, of victimhood, of not being good enough? Just seeing it is the first giant step. Next, you must learn to feel without carrying. When these inherited emotions, the sadness, the anger, the fear come up, the goal is to allow yourself to feel them without identifying with them. Acknowledge their presence, but understand they are just an echo from the past passing through you. You don't have to fix it or carry it for everyone else. The third stage is about returning what is not yours. This can be done through symbolic acts, journaling, or therapeutic work. You can literally say out loud or in writing, "Dear grandmother, I see your pain. I honor your struggle, but this burden is yours, not mine. I respectfully return it to you so that I can live my own life freely." This isn't an act of disrespect. It's an act of clarity and love. Finally, you redefine loyalty. You shift from a loyalty based on repetition to a loyalty based on evolution. You honor your family not by staying stuck with them, but by taking the life they gave you and doing something new with it. Your success doesn't betray them. It redeems their struggles. Your happiness doesn't deny their pain. It gives their sacrifices meaning. A family egregore doesn't disappear when you fight against it. That just gives it more energy. It transforms when you bring awareness to it. When just one member of a family lineage stops reenacting the old script, when they integrate the trauma without embodying it, when they choose a new path without contempt for the old one, they become a point of transformation for the entire family field. Your individual healing has a ripple effect, sending waves of peace both backward and forward through the generations. In the end, we don't choose the family we're born into, but we absolutely can choose what we do with our inheritance. Family egregores are both our roots and our limits. They give us a history and emotional language and a vital sense of belonging, but they were never meant to define the entirety of who we are. Freeing yourself from the limiting aspects of your family egregore is not a betrayal of your ancestors. In fact, it is often the greatest homage you can pay them. It means you are no longer carrying the burdens they cannot transform. You become a bridge between the past and the future, a place where memory stops being a repetitive prison and finally becomes living, breathing wisdom. You honor them by living your own life fully and freely. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations into the unseen forces that shape our lives. See you next time.